What's going on, everybody? We're here with a mock draft. I think only like the second time we've done a mock draft, maybe, or maybe it's the first. I don't even remember. But I'm joined by some family members. Brian, Dad, how's it going, guys? We got a last weekend of preseason, 2 weeks away from the NFL season starting. You guys excited to get this thing rolling finally?
Yeah, I'm ready to collect some money from you guys, ideally. For the first time in a long time.
And you need to start losing.
Yeah.
You're starting to sound like Raiders fans. You talk about their Super Bowls in the 1980s, even though they were born.
I burned my Tampa Bay Super Bowl shirt. Like I'm starting over.
With the new team or what?
No. Just for them to suck all over again, you know.
It's going to be a long time, so
yeah, it's all right. I'm young.
You know, I was actually I think the video came out today. Me and Dad went over the Tampa Bay team, and the more I looked at it, I was just like, I can see these guys winning the division like pretty easily. It's not a very good division, and like you still got a lot of good players on defense, and Mike Evans and Godwin there. Like Mayfield just needs to not suck completely, you know.
But
yeah, we're doing a half PPR 12 team, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 3 flexes, one quarterback, a tight end. So yeah, you see, I'm going to share my screen. We're just going to kind of get right into it. We have there's only 3 of us drafting, so there's going to be some auto picks, but we'll kind of talk through each round and kind of where we're thinking about some guys. Again, we're 2 weeks out, so it's kind of go time. I mean, I don't see a whole lot else changing unless injuries happen or maybe a couple other things can happen. But to me, there's not a whole lot that's going to really change. So we'll kind of get into it. Let me see if I think that's going to be a little bit better there. See if I can maybe slightly zoom in. But
Mike, this is only start 2 receiver, right?
Yeah, 2 receivers, 3 flexes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and 3 flexes. So I'm just going to start that draft if you guys are ready.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't say where we were picking.
Yeah, so Brian, you're at the 3 spot. Dad's at the 6, and I am at the 9 spot.
Yeah, it looks like you might have to actually initiate an auto pick, Mike.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'm gonna.
If you set the clock to 0, that might actually give us like infinite time for our picks, and then make theirs automatic. I don't know.
There we go. All right, so first 2 picks in Jefferson, McCaffrey. I was just talking about it pre-show. To me, it's McCaffrey at the in half PPR leagues. It's McCaffrey at the 101. I don't know if you agree, Dad, or you disagree there.
Yeah, I could do either or. You know, I think the favorite pick obviously is Jefferson.
Yeah,
he's everyone's favorite pick. It's kind of funny how like these guys kind of become consensus. It doesn't take very long. I mean, the guy's been for a few seasons, so you can't argue with it. That's for sure. It's been awesome for what is it? 3 now? 3 seasons?
Yeah, 3 straight seasons. I mean, 2020, 2021, 2022. I mean, best 3-year start of a receiver in NFL history, I think. So
yeah,
he's kind of surpassed Odell Beckham there. Yeah, I'm still McCaffrey. I just think he is the difference maker there. And honestly, the guy I'm going to take right here, Bijan, I would probably take him possibly in the top 4 or 5. So I'm going to pause it right here real quick. I guess I don't have to because there's no time limit. But anyways, this year I'm really comfortable drafting in like that top 5, even 6 round range, because I'm basically happy with like a Jefferson, McCaffrey, Chase, Cup, Bijan, Hill. You know, I mean even Kelsey if you want to throw Kelsey in there, but I'm kind of super comfortable in that top 6 range. So I don't know how you guys feel. Brian, you went Chase over Cup. Any reason why? Just more the Cup injury? You think Chase is going to be better?
Yeah, a little bit of both, I guess. Like it's hard to say like Chase is gonna be definitely better than Cup, but the soft tissue injury with Cup. But I mean, I guess Chase kind of has his own problems with Burrow possibly not going to be there at the beginning of the season, but I think
he's going to be there.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I'm more worried about the Rams as an offense than Cincinnati. So that was like kind of the only thing that moved the needle for me.
Okay. Yeah. Probably still Cup just because the amount of volume. I think I heard he's going to be back, but I guess we'll monitor that. Dad, you went Kelce. Kelce at the 106. Were you debating anyone else there, or were you pretty locked in on those?
I was debating Bijan, but I figure there's some running backs later down the road I can get, and I'm not going to get a tight end like Kelce anywhere else. So
yeah, that's for sure. I mean, Brian, you okay with that move? Kelce at the 106 and half PPR?
Yeah, no, I like it. Me and Dad were talking earlier about and I think I asked him this question. I was like, would you take Kelce or Bijan if he's there and you're like in the middle or the later part of the draft? And, we kind of talked back and forth about it. I don't think there's a wrong move there. What I did talk to Dad about, and I guess we'll see that play out in this round, is like, I was actually kind of tempted to go Bijan too, because after McCaffrey, I think I like him the best. Not that I think he'll necessarily like be better than Eckler or Barkley or Chubb or Henry, but it's just just the shiny new toy kind of thing, and it's like the run heaviest offense in the league, and generational talent and all that good stuff. So I kind of like the idea of taking Bijan first and then trying to snag a receiver on the way back to start it off. I guess we'll see who falls to me. But I find myself going kind of receiver heavy as kind of like the ADP suggests, it seems like. Although it kind of looks like we're a little even here. But yeah, it's kind of hard to pass up on some of these receivers so early, because I feel like it gets pretty thin by in the middle of round 3 already as far as receiver goes. So that was kind of my
it's definitely receiver heavy, that's for sure. I mean, it's I don't know, I'm still, I was kind of been doing some research. Actually, I think this video is going to come out this weekend, kind of looking at like the last 10 years top 12 running backs, top 12 receivers in ADP, and it's actually a little surprising. You would expect, I think everyone expects the running backs have missed way more games than the receivers, and it's not that far off. It is more running backs have missed more games, but receiver, it's not a huge gap. It's like a 1 game per player essentially type of gap.
Okay.
And the running backs actually hit in the top 12 more often than the top 12 receivers. But then there's a huge drop off between like the top 24 running backs, after the top 12, the next 12 guys, there's a huge difference there. Like the 13 through 24 receivers are outperforming the 13 through 24 running backs pretty heavily. So it makes me kind of think like lock up one of those top running backs and then kind of go receiver heavy. But
yeah,
I tend to not have the strategy at all. Kind of just play the board how it comes to you, I guess.
And so here's a good example of kind of why, like, and I think kind of what I was saying about like the running backs, like it seems like they like getting one of those like really top guys. Like the top has gotten a little bit thinner with the Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs situations, and so it's kind of like you took 2 out of like, the top 6 guys, like kind of like put question marks on them a little bit. So like as it fell here, I really like Olave here. Honestly, like I'm totally fine with him as my wide receiver 1 on my team. So if I could like reset this draft already, like knowing Olave was going to be there in the second round, like I probably would have taken Bijan and gotten Olave, but I'm actually hoping here, like, so I'm actually going to take Olave here, and I'm hoping that Ramondre Stevenson makes it back to me as my my running back one, and I'd be really happy with that start. Wait, why can't I draft here? Aren't I up?
Yeah, you are up.
It's not letting me pick. Am I doing this wrong? I already did it before. Okay, there we go.
So, Dad, you went Kelsey and then Waddle. So, would you have Garrett Wilson, St. Brown, either of those guys over Waddle, or?
Yeah, I would have taken Garrett Wilson first, St. Brown second, but they went. They went, so I had to. It's like too bad I had to draft Jalen Waddle. So,
who was your highest running back on the board still, Dad? Because Pollard went, Jacobs went, Taylor, Najee, and I'm going to take Ramondre right now. Who was your highest out of those guys?
Which running backs?
Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh, probably Najee or Ramondre.
Yeah, it's I mean, the Jonathan Taylor going at 211. Like, where do we think as it stands right now? Because a lot of people are going to be drafting this weekend. Preseason's kind of finishing up here. I think a lot of people either going to be drafting this weekend or next weekend, and if they can't fit it in next weekend, they're going to be drafting next weekend. What do you do with Jonathan Taylor? Like, where does he become a value? Where do you avoid him? Do you take him second round? Do you take him third round? Like, what do you guys? What do you guys think about that?
I'm not doing it in the second round. I mean, that's evidence right here I'm almost at the end of the second round, and I didn't take him at the beginning of the third. I just feel like Ramondre's the safer pick.
Well, JT went to 11.
Right, but I'm just saying I would have taken Ramondre over him, even if he was still there.
What about if it was Najee or Jonathan Taylor?
I don't know. I guess I would look at who else is on the board. If I had to take one of those two guys, I'd probably take Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. It's so tough though, man. It's like, what's going to happen? Dad, what are you feeling with Jonathan Taylor? Like, you're drafting this weekend.
I'm ignoring him. Sorry.
But, I mean, until when, though? Because you can't ignore him the whole draft.
Well, I can, just let some other genius pick him up.
But I mean, if he's Taylor in the 10th round,
if he's sitting there in the 4th round or something, would you take him? That's kind of where I'm getting at.
Yeah, there's somebody who's not dialed in with what's going on is probably going to pick him. Unfortunately, I don't know.
So if he was there in the 3rd round for you, would you have taken him?
No, 3rd round, definitely not. 5th round, no.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah,
if he was there on your next pick, you started Kelsey, Waddle, Metcalf. If you could get Jonathan Taylor as your first guy in the 4th round, you wouldn't take it? First running back?
Nope.
Well,
man of his
are you expecting him to hold out, like not play, miss games? What are you expecting?
I expect something to happen by Tuesday. That's the Colts deadline. 2 teams have made offers, and one of them is the Dolphins. So, but then the guy has done nothing the whole training camp. We don't even know if he was really injured.
Yeah.
We've heard everything from a back, and he says, "Oh, I don't have a problem with a back," to an ankle. So I don't want anything. I don't want.
Would you like him on Miami? Would that be a decent? I think that'd be a good destination for him. Like, he's easily the best guy there.
Yeah, there's another coach who knows how to run the ball. So I mean, be beneficial, but they value. There's a lot of mouths to feed there on Miami.
Yeah. I have my pick here. We can wrap up the 3rd round. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I have a question for Dad. Well, this is getting wrapped up. Okay, so Mark Andrews went the pick after you in the third round. Obviously, you took Kelsey in the first round. So if you would have taken Bijan instead of Kelsey and got Mark Andrews in the third round. So do you like what I'm asking, like which team build do you like better so far? What you got with Kelsey, Waddle, Metcalf, or would you like Bijan?
Bijan and Andrews. Bijan and Andrews would be pretty good.
Yeah. I think I like that one better too. I like Bijan and Andrews better than Kelsey and Metcalf with Waddle there in the middle.
Yeah, it's what's going to happen when you take a tight end high, though, is you're going to be kind of probably weak. So you're not going to like your wide receiver 2, or you're not going to like your RB1. You'll be fine with it, but you're not going to love it. Just to kind of recap, we have had 5 quarterbacks go. Mahomes went in the second round. Hurts went at the 301. Lamar Jackson 304, and Josh Allen 308. And honestly, I know we're auto drafting. This is probably how it's going to shape out in your home leagues. Like maybe Allen over Lamar, but I mean, people take quarterbacks in home leagues. That's just you see the names. You know the names Mahomes. You know the names Jalen Hurts, and you take them. So I don't really see it really being different. I don't know if you guys disagree with that or not, but
no, I agree totally. I think this is pretty realistic. I've been drafting a lot of best ball, and that's just kind of like, this is what you see a lot. Like it's usually Hurts, Mahomes, and Allen in later round 2, mid round 3, and then sometimes Lamar is in round 3 like he was here. Sometimes he makes it into round 4, but I know who the next guy is going to go. He's going to go to me if he makes it. No.
I'm 100% out on Burrow this year. He's just being drafted way too high. Like I'm not one to take a quarterback very high, but if you're going to get Hurts, get Lamar, get Allen, get one of those. Don't take Burrow. If you're going to take Burrow in the 4th, just reach for Allen in the 3rd or Lamar in the 3rd. Like they just have so much more potential. So.
For sure. And obviously you never know how this is going to work out, but Team 10 is the one who took Ridley and then Burrow. But I guess Allen wasn't there in the 3rd, so they couldn't have taken him anyways. But I was going to say they could have taken Allen and then probably still gotten Ridley.
Yeah.
But I don't know how realistic.
So you went Waddle, Metcalf, and then you're up now. I took Debo. I'm really high on Debo. I just think he's really freaking good, and I think Brock Purdy plays perfect into his skill set. And I mentioned this on a couple videos that Debo, even when McCaffrey came, Debo was still getting 2-3 carries a game, which is stats out to 40, 45, up to 50 in a season, and that's kind of what he had in his big season. So they're not going to go away from giving him the ball. I just think he's their best player, and it's not even close. I mean, him and McCaffrey, but best receiver. So I'm super high on him. Ridley's interesting. I still don't really know what to expect from Ridley.
I like him here better at the end of the 3rd round, where I've been seeing him in best ball go as early as like the end of the 2nd round. And it's just crazy. Like, dude, that's way too rich for me, honestly.
This is even too rich for me because I'm not even convinced he's top. I can see it being like more of a 1A, 1B. Like that seems a little more likely than Ridley just dominating targets. I don't know. And then ETN, Breece Hall kind of rounded out that 3rd round, which again, Breece Hall's another interesting guy. Like, what do we do with Breece Hall, Dad? I think we were talking about it in the Jets video. Like, I think 3rd round is maybe a little too high for you. Probably for me too. What do you think, Dad? Breece Hall? The 5th round, I think.
Yeah, I was looking at his projection, and he was projected about 800 yards, less than 200 carries and stuff like that. So, and I thought, well, that's probably about right, But so ignore the dog.
Less than 200 carries. That seems a little low to me. I mean, he's practicing, so there's a good chance he plays week 1. So we say like 11 carries a game. I don't know. I still think he's a really good value. Like, I'd probably take him in the 4th just because I think he can win you your league type of value. And you're not really going to find too many of those kind of players in the 4th, 5th round. Like I think Breece Hall is better than Dalvin Cook. Yeah, coming off the ACL is a concern, but the fact that he is probably going to start week 1 helps that. So, 4th, 5th round, I'm fine with it.
Mike, did you mention, is this, I mean, I know we're drafting against a bunch of bots and stuff. Maybe we can get one more of these in before everyone drafts next weekend, and we can get some listeners in with us. But what I was going to ask is, are we doing 6-point or 4-point per passing touchdown? Or I guess it doesn't matter because it's
6.
bots.
Yeah, 6.
Okay. All right. So that kind of, so where I'm at right now, like if everyone can see on the board, I've got Chase, Olave, Stevenson, and it's my pick in the 4th. So the 2 teams after me, one has all 3 running backs, and it's like, well, you better get some receivers in there or something. And the other guy has Jalen Hurts and 2 receivers, so he might be looking running back. So what I was going to say is, like, I kind of feel comfortable passing on Herbert right now, even though I really like him, especially in the 5th round. But honestly, the guys I like here, like, I think there's enough of them in the skill positions where I'm just going to reach for Herbert, like, now. Well, I don't even think it's a reach, honestly, but I'm going to take Herbert here and then kind of see who comes back to me out of, I mean, I really like basically DJ Moore, Judy, Drake London, Christian Watson as my wide receiver 3s. And I like Aaron Jones here also as my running back 2. But I think I'm just going to take Herbert and see which one of those guys falls back to me, which I think is like an important thing people need to do when they're picking closer to the ends, is look at the team that are picking after you and what they need.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of worked out perfectly.
So just before you get into that, recapping kind of the 4th round. So Gibbs went at the 401 over Mixon. What do you guys think about that real quick? Fine with it, or?
I would take Mixon.
Dad Mixon or Jahmyr Gibbs? Is he here? Oh, Dad, you're muted.
Oh.
Gibbs, look at my hat. So
you're a homer. Half PPR. Remember that. I'm interested to see how that turns out. Like, are they just going to use him like they used Swift or last year, or are they going to give him a little bit more? I don't know. I think Montgomery is incredible value, but we'll get to that. Burrow, we've already kind of mentioned Burrow going 403. I took Keenan Allen, so I'm happy with Bijan, Garrett Wilson, Deebo Samuel, Keenan Allen start. Really like that. Amari Cooper went, DeAndre Hopkins, kind of standard, don't really have much to say about those guys. You kind of know Hopkins is a little interesting, I guess. Like, I think people don't love him going to Tennessee. I'm actually fine with it. Like, I think he can get incredible, like, target volume there. And he can kind of be that AJ Brown kind of role, and hopefully stay healthy the whole year. So,
especially with Burks going to miss a little bit of time too, like that only helps it. Like, not that he needs anyone to miss time to be good, because we know who he is.
Yeah. Fields, Dad, you took Justin Fields. Were you debating a running back there? Because
I was thinking Aaron Jones, but if I didn't get Justin Fields there, I would have had to go probably one of the more traditional quarterbacks, I think I'm old school, but I'm seeing the value of these these running quarterbacks. So I think I would try it out this year if the opportunity presents it.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's fair. I mean, Fields definitely over Burrow. and Herbert, all those guys going in the 4th round. I'm taking Fields over those other 2 guys. Ken Walker goes. He's another interesting one.
I would take Herbert over Fields, like straight up in 6-point per passing touchdown. Like, I just think that it's going to be. I mean, like Herbert was. What did he finish last year? It was like QB 10, and he was like.
I think it was like 14.
Oh, I thought he was like higher than that. Maybe, I don't know. But anyways, like
QB 11.
I gotta believe Fields is going to improve in the, in the passing game. So
yeah, I think Herbert will. Yeah, I think Herbert will get back to like what he does best, kind of a thing. Like, I don't know. I think the dude has. And I guess Fields does too, but QB1 upside, like you don't have to squint too hard to see it for Herbert, but I think you got to do it a little bit harder for Fields. That's just my opinion, I guess.
I mean, QB1, unless he runs a little bit more, you're talking like, I mean, unless you're basically saying he's going to have like a Mahomes season, which he can, 5,300 yards, 40 plus touchdown. Even Mahomes still gives you something on the ground, So
yeah,
I'm fine with it though. I'm fine with it. Hawkinson in the 4th, nope. Way too high.
Nope. Not Kittle either. Nope.
No, not Kittle. Aaron Jones, I think, is a good value for the team 2 that has 4 running backs, and they finally took a receiver. Anything else you guys want to say in round 4, or you can kind of get it going with your pick, Ryan?
No, I am good. I'm glad the way it fell because, like, I feel like Miles Sanders as like my top running back on the board. He still made it through, even though I don't really like him there. I would have much rather taken Aaron Jones, but I prefer DJ Moore as my wide receiver 3 over McLaurin, over Drake London, over Judy and Watson. So I'm happy he came back to me. So I'm taking DJ Moore in the 5th round at 5'3" as wide receiver 3.
One thing I'll say about Miles Sanders, I know he hasn't gone yet, but I really like him. I'm starting to get worried though. Like the guy hasn't practiced like all offseason, all training camp. Like,
oh really?
He's been like not practicing for at least the last 10 days or so. Like he's been missing a lot of practice. So that is concerning. Yeah. That is concerning. And the team does not look good, but
I clicked on him and it says like his little news is 2 days ago. It says he's certain he'll play in week 1.
Yeah, that's him talking, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to say that now.
Yeah, they're all in the best shape of their lives and everything.
Right.
So a big run on running backs there. We'll get to it in just a second. I'm going to take a guy that just kind of I know he got carted off, but everyone gets carted off in practice. I'm taking Judy just again, assuming that he's not seriously hurt. So we'll go through the 5th round. So Drake London went, Terry McLaurin, and then DJ Moore. Dad, those 3 receivers, do you have an order 1, 2, 3 of London, McLaurin, and DJ Moore?
I like DJ Moore and then McLaurin, I think, and I don't dislike Drake London this year. I know his quarterback situation maybe is a little murky or something, and maybe not. I shouldn't say murky, but I think he'll do all right. All 3 of those guys have young quarterbacks. Let's face it, and so, but they've had crap quarterbacks thrown to them most of their career. So, but it's kind of hard. McLaurin, DJ Moore, McLaurin, then Drake London.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Brian, you mentioned you take DJ Moore over those guys, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to mention also, like, I think another thing that is kind of in Moore's favor over those other guys is less competition in general. Like McLaurin's got, like obviously they throw to they use their running backs like in Washington. So like, Antonio Gibson's going to get some, and they got Dotson there. London's got Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson competing for targets. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like Moore is like the easier like go-to guy. Like when it comes to McLaurin, like I'm definitely like rising along with everyone else on Jahan Dotson as a later round guy, or like a mid-round guy. And it's like you can wait 2 rounds and get Dotson over McLaurin possibly, and I kind of like that. And Drake London is kind of the same thing. I was surprised to see Kyle Pitts go at the end of round 5, because I feel like he's been falling into like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And it's like I'd rather, like, I feel like you could take Kyle Pitts and get the positional advantage and kind of have the same argument as Drake London as far as like, well, he's gonna, he's concentrated target volume in this offense and everything. But
my concern with those guys, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
But no, you go ahead.
No, I was saying my concern with London and Pitts is they both end up as like 800-yard players, and if that's the case, like Pitts way more valuable because he's a tight end. So
right.
And DJ Moore. Yeah, DJ Moore's fine. I mean, McLaurin, I feel like he's one of those that kind of gets disrespected a little bit. I mean, wide receiver 14 last year, and like the guy's really good. He does have a toe injury. Maybe that slows him the first couple games or something. So we'll see how that plays out. 5 running backs went. Pierce, Akers, Dad, you took Dobbins, Miles Sanders, James Conner. Was Dobbins your guy out of those 5, Dad, or did you like Akers or Pierce over them?
I think it was actually between Sanders and Dobbins. So, but Dobbins got a little bit of a contract attitude, so I know he's not the most favorite running back in the group. I kind of like him. I dislike him because he's from Ohio State, but I like him. This one good year in the NFL. He runs the ball pretty good. Hopefully he can stay healthy. So
yeah, he could have like a Miles Sanders like year this year, where he's always been a high yards per carry guy, and then finally gets the volume, finally gets over 200 touches, and so I'm fine with Dobbins, and I think I like Conner out of all those guys, to be honest.
Yeah, I like James Conner too. So
yeah, Brian, do you have a preference for those 5?
I don't know. Like I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit higher on Pierce, but yeah, I think I would just go with Conner. I would have said Miles Sanders up until 3 minutes ago when he told me he hasn't practiced all week or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I like Akers too. Dobbins is probably the lowest, just because it seems like he's been bitching about contract stuff too and everything. And it's like, well, is he actually injured? Is he holding out? Like, he's on a rookie deal. We know they're not going to throw to him. And
yeah,
I don't know. There's just a lot of things going on. I would prefer Dobbins the next round.
Akers is hard for me. I'm like I'm fine with him going where he's going, but I'm also like a little nervous at the same time. Just like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know what to expect from Akers or the Rams offense as a whole, besides Cooper Kupp, really. I took Judy, assuming he's going to be healthy. Obviously, if he's hurt, I wouldn't take him here, like seriously hurt. I think he could have a smash year. I think he's by far the best receiver in Denver. Tim Patrick going down only helps Judy even more. So even if the Broncos offense kind of sucks, like I still think Judy can like feast. So Goddard went, Madison, and then Kyle Pitts. So if I'm deciding between Goddard and Pitts, like I'm taking Pitts every single day of the week. Goddard is definitely safer, 100%, but give me that upside. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Well, throw Waller into that mix. You still taking Pitts?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
No, I think I'd take Waller.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd take Waller.
He just went a couple of picks after those guys.
Unfucking believable.
What? That Tyler Lockett
fucking stole Montgomery out from underneath me.
Yep.
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 He
I
was
would've-
just saying. He was just
I was-
saying that.
I was gonna wait to talk about him, but I would have taken him in the 5th round, I think. But I kind of played the ADP game, knowing I had
Yeah.
three auto drafts after me. So I think Montgomery is gonna smash. Like the guy, he's gonna be what Jamal Williams did, but better, and he can catch the ball. Like it scares me about Gibbs is because of Montgomery, and like I just don't see how Montgomery doesn't have a top 15 season if he stays healthy. I really don't, like, and what is he going? I wish Sleeper would show like what RB he is here. Brian, you can talk while I count.
Yeah, I know. I wish it would show that too. Yeah. Now I have to kind of play the ADP game a little
So
bit.
he went as RB 24, and I think there's absolutely no way Montgomery finishes outside of the top 15 if he's healthy all year. I just don't see it at all. Like, so sorry about it, Dad. You want another receiver with Mike Williams?
Yeah, I didn't want to reach on any other running back, so
yeah. I mean, you can start 5 receivers. So
yeah.
I don't.
you only have,
I was gonna say I don't see how the guy that I'm picking in the 6th round is a reach.
no.
So
No,
I Alvin Kamara, like, just feel like in the 6th round, like, I don't know how you pass that up, honestly. Like,
No,
like
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, there were some, like, because I was looking at, like, well, Alvin Kamara as my wide receiver 2, or am I filling in a flex with a receiver at this point? And there are some good receivers. I was looking at Christian Kirk. I like him at the end of the 6th over Ridley at the end of the 3rd round.
100%.
You know, like, I mean, it's just, 36 picks later, it's like, how do you even know Kirk's not going to be the target leader? I know there was kind of some concerning things in preseason, like it looked like it was Zay Jones on the field in 2 receiver sets and stuff, but I don't know. I don't want to get too caught up in gleaning too much from what we see in the preseason. But it would have been Christian Kirk if I took a receiver over Kamara, but I'm glad the way it's kind of falling, because I saw James Cook and Antonio Gibson on there still. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's still like a little soon for either one of those guys for this next round, but there's a lot of good receivers too. So
Yeah. Swift went for 601. I really don't know what the hell to think of the Philadelphia offense. I think it's too high for Swift. Really not knowing what the hell is going on. I understand the appeal, though, for sure. Waller could be, tight end 2 this year. Tight end 1 is Kelsey, unless he gets hurt. But Waller could be tight end 2 this year, in my opinion. Christian Watson, I'm telling you, he went 603. I'm out. Like, I'm out until I'm looking at the receivers. All the receivers that went after him, I'm taking over Watson. And Mike Evans and Michael Pittman, I'm taking over. Deontay Johnson, I'm taking over Watson as well. Pickens, no. JSN, probably not. But I'm just kind of out on Watson. Like, we saw 4 games, essentially, with just insane touchdown production. And that's kind of why he's going. And he feels like the Gabe Davis of this year, in my opinion. And he might not even be the leading target getter on that team, So, completely out on that. I don't know what you guys. I think, Brian, you like Watson a little bit more.
yeah, I like him because he does have like big playability, obviously, right? Like, he's a giant dude who's super fast.
You like him because your wife likes him.
No, I like him because he's on my dynasty team.
You basically described Gabriel Davis, like
yeah, and Gabe Davis has the quarterback to back it up. So I don't disagree with that. Like, I do like Gabe Davis, like along those same lines, like for sure. But I don't know. He's an exciting guy. Like, we saw some like big plays and stuff, and like I think it'll be interesting to see how that offense, like what that actually looks like under Jordan Love. Like, I think taking him, where did he go? Round 6?
603.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad, because I mean, he obviously has like good upside. Like you like Godwin over Watson just because of like volume?
I think just Godwin's a way better player. Like, I wasn't big on Watson coming out of college. Yeah, he has all the skill set there, but like, again, like we're literally basing this off of 4 games. What have we seen from Lockett? We've seen a 7-year career of him being a stud. Mike Williams, yeah, he's a little boom bust. He's not as boom bust as I think Christian Watson's going to be, but he's on a really good offense that's going to throw the ball 700 times. Like Godwin, we've seen multiple years of Godwin being well. Brandon Ayuk's coming off a 1,000-yard season. Like Marquise Brown's going to get a bunch of targets. Like, you know, it's just like we're literally taking Christian Watson over all those guys because of like 4 games. And I know you can make the argument like, what about Bijan and rookies? But it's just like, you look at it and I can see him being the 3rd target on that team, you know, like,
yeah,
I can see him not even being the 2nd most targeted player on that team. And it's just like, nah, like give me these other receivers over him, you know?
Yeah. But if you're taking him also like that, he's the flex player, like for that team though, too. Like, which I don't even know if that should have been the right move for that team because they don't have a running back yet. But
yeah, I mean, I'll flex Lockett or Mike Williams too, you know? Like, I still have that argument for those guys. Like, I'm fine. Like, if he's your wide receiver 4, okay, that's fine. Like, I'm just saying I'm taking those other guys over him. So I just think he's the prime candidate to, like, not return on the value of where people are expecting or drafting him. So,
God damn you.
Deontay. Real quick before we get into those picks, Javonte, I think he's going to play this weekend, which is exciting. So I'm fine with Javonte in the 6th. Dad, are you okay with Javonte in the 6th? Would you have taken him if Javonte Williams fell?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he should be all right. I mean, they're playing him, you know, the guy hasn't been on the PUP list and all that other stuff. So, I've been asked this question, would I take Mike Evans if he was there? And so I better back up my...
Yeah, he was the other one that I was looking at over Deontay.
Yeah.
Like,
real quick, before we get to those guys, I just want to finish out this round. So yeah, Godwin went, Ayuk, we talked about it. Brian, you took Kamara, good value. Marquise Brown, 6'11", and then Rachaad White, who he's another one where it's like, look at the running backs that are going after Rachaad White. Dalvin Cook, murky situation. Like AJ Dillon is the most expensive handcuff in the history of fucking fantasy football. Isaiah Pacheco, no thing. Like Rachaad White, you're getting an RB1, potentially a bell cow in the late 6th. So I think that's super good value too. Like, he might not be good, but
yeah, I don't think Dalvin Cook is murky. It's just he's going to share, you know. So
we don't know what the split's going to be. Is what I'm saying. Like anyone who tries to tell you it's going to be this before they actually see how it plays out, like is lying to you, you know. So, but yeah. Well, we can get in if you guys want to talk about Deontay. Both of you wanted him. I wanted him. So, go ahead.
I wanted him. I was going to pick him.
Yeah. I'll trade you for Mike Evans because I kind of like Mike Evans now better on my team, actually.
I've been talking smack. Well, good smack about Mike Evans. So,
yeah.
Thinking that he still got it. I like... Mike, can you recite those quarterbacks again that he's played under?
Deontay?
No, Mike Evans.
Yeah, it was like Josh McCown, Jameis Winston, obviously, Tom Brady, Mike Glennon, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, it doesn't really matter what quarterback he's played with.
Yeah.
He's just always put up 1,000 yards, you know? Like, and it's not, again, it's not like he's been with Mahomes his whole career. Now he's with Baker Mayfield. It's like, no. He's been with a lot of like just a bunch of other guys, like. So I think it's crazy. Mike Evans is going in the 7th. Like, I think it's absolutely insane. He's going in the 7th round. Like,
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Seattle situation last year where we downgraded Metcalf and Lockett because of Geno. Like Baker Mayfield is not terrible. Like, he's not like dog shit. Like he could do something.
Well, he ruined DJ Moore last year while he was playing.
Yeah, or DJ Moore just ruined himself because he sucks. No, I'm just kidding. I love Deontay. I love the Deontay pick, though. I think it's insane. He's going in the 7th round. I talked about this when we talked about the Steelers. There's been 3 guys who've had 140 or more targets the last 3 years. It's Devontae Adams. I'm blanking on the other one, and it's Deontay Johnson. So it might be I don't think Kelsey was there. I'm blanking on who the third. There's 3 guys though, and then if you expand that to people who've had 2 seasons of 140 targets since 2020.
Was it Tyreek Hill?
No, it wasn't Tyreek. Tyreek was in the 2. There's only like 4 or 5 other guys who've had 2 or more.
I'm
seasons
sorry.
with 140.
Tyreek had 135 targets 2 years ago. Sorry.
but the point, and we talked about quarterbacks with Mike Evans. He did this with Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Ben Roethlisberger, like Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Like Deontay's done it with a bunch of different guys too. I just think he's an insane target hog, and I'm not worried about George Pickens at all. I think it's crazy they're going in the same round. Like, I think it's just, what are we doing?
Yeah. Pickens was actually 1 spot higher in ADP than Deontay, and it's just kind of like, what? Like
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't get it. And I know, Dad, I was talking to you earlier. Didn't Pickens had a big play in the preseason today too? Like, at a 40 yard.
He did.
Yeah. So he'll be going.
Deontay. Deontay had he had 1 catch for like 40 yards as well.
Yeah, that was the first drive. It went 1 catch on the left sideline, kind of deep for Deontay Johnson. Then a couple plays later, then it was George Pickens. So the Pittsburgh offense. I talked to Brian most of the first quarter. I go, it's 7-0. A couple of minutes later, I go, it's 14-0. Up into the first quarter, 17-0. So they were. I don't know the Falcon defense well enough to know if they were playing their scrubs, but Pittsburgh execution-wise, they looked right on. So
I think it's I think 5 drives, 5 touchdowns for Pickett and their starting offense. So looking good. But I like George Pickens, and could he have a good year? Yeah. I just think it's crazy that Deontay's going in the same round as him. Michael Pittman, still think it's good value in the 7th round. I don't know what you guys think about Pittman there.
No.
Yeah, Pittman's a guy I'm not super interested in, honestly. I'm
taking him over JSN, Pickens, Addison, Tony. You know what I mean? Kind of the range of where he's going right now. I'm taking him over all those guys.
Definitely over Pickens and Tony. Yeah, JSN too. Yeah. But I might take a shot on Addison. I wouldn't take him over Pacheco. I'm just looking at the guys that kind of went around him. Yeah. I don't know.
One of the things that makes the Eagles pass catchers, you look at it like Jalen Hurts threw for 3,800 yards. Yeah, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard are all top 7 in their position. How is this possible? It's because they run the RPO offense, and an RPO is if you don't run the ball, you throw it right away. You don't scan the field. You throw it to one guy. You already know who you're throwing it to. And I think that could just really play into Michael Pittman this year. With Anthony Richardson and
the defense has to honor both of them. So they got, so the defense has to honor the run. And all of a sudden, there's fake handoff and he throws the ball. So
yeah, and it's little short routes. It's bubble screens. It's quick slants. So I think that could play into Pittman. I think he can have a good season, where he's being drafted in the 7th round.
I watched some highlights of the Colts, and that's what they were doing. Anthony Richardson did not have great numbers, but he looked okay in the highlights. Of course, they're going to show you the good plays, but you look at the box score, but he does look like Hurts.
Yeah.
He does look like
Cam Newton. Just to finish up this 7th round, AJ Dillon, I mentioned it. He's a fucking handcuff at this point. Like, the guy, I was looking at the stats, and he's had double-digit carries last year. Double-digit carries 12 times. He had over 80 yards once. You go back to 2021, double-digit carries 10 times. He had over 80 yards once. Like, the guy's had one 100-yard rushing game in his career, his rookie year. Like, he's had the opportunity. It's not like a Madison situation where Madison's come in, he's flashed when Cook's been hurt, but then never got the opportunity when Cook is back. It's literally like he's been getting the carries. You think if you're good, you would have had a big game, even if you only had 15 carries. If you're a good player, you would have had a big game in those. Look at Tony Pollard. He's the perfect example. Like, he's exploded and stuff. And I think it's crazy that Dillon's still going in the 7th round, like, as essentially a handcuff, in my opinion. Like, you're not starting him if Aaron Jones isn't hurt. Unless they run the ball like 65% of the time, and I'm just missing that, which I don't think is going to happen. Look at Pollard last year, 13 for 105, 12 for 83, 14 for 131, like 12 for 91. Like, Pollard puts up games. And so I don't know if you guys feel the same about my hate for AJ Dillon in the 7th round.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't take Dillon in the 7th round. I would have taken Cook over him for sure, James Cook. Yep. Honestly, like, I don't hate AJ Dillon, but I've never really like dived into his stats. But I know like we were a little more excited about him last year. I mean, it seems like we've been excited about him for like the last few years, and it's just been like nothing. Obviously, like we saw what the Green Bay offense looked like last year in general, but yeah, I agree. Like, he's kind of just an expensive handcuff. Like maybe you start him as a flex, but I don't think that's even probably that realistic. Like,
Green Bay's offense wasn't necessarily, they were 14th in points per game last year, so it wasn't like they were dog shit bad, like they were above average. So
it felt painful.
It did, but Isaiah Pacheco, has he been practicing yet? I don't even know.
I don't know. I'm not taking Pacheco like in the 7th round. Like,
no way.
Like, I mean, I get the appeal. It's like, he's on the best offense in football, and he's the main guy. But I don't know. We see too much weird stuff at the goal line with Kansas City. Like, they're not necessarily counting on him. They're counting on Mahomes to figure something out to get that touchdown, and it works. So why would you do anything different? So
yeah.
I totally get it. No Pacheco for me.
I have a question for you, Dad, and then the same question for you, Brian. So I was a little surprised to see Trevor Lawrence in with all these auto picks going. Trevor Lawrence going at the end of the 7th. Had you known that, would you have preferred Lawrence in the 7th rather over Fields in the 4th, or are you fine with Fields? Obviously, you're fine with Fields, but I'm saying in terms of the value of getting Lawrence in the 7th round.
Yeah, I've been kind of burned on these predictions before that, guys are going to take the next leap and all this other shit, and it's kind of caused me to kind of dial back once in a while. So,
but you took Fields.
Yeah, but
he's going to take the next leap.
I don't know that, but if he does the same thing as he did last year, that's not too bad. I'm just saying, and what I said was there has to be some improvement in the passing game. I mean, receivers, I'm sure they worked on it. I watched a guy play at Ohio State, and he was a very good passer. He didn't run the ball at all. He just sat
Yeah.
back there and threw to NFL ready wide receivers, and it's like looking at him in the NFL, he looks like a deer in the headlights. So who
Different
knows?
game. You're not throwing to stud receivers everywhere either, like you are in Ohio State. Brian, same question. Herbert in the 4th or Lawrence in the 7th?
I mean, it's definitely. So I guess I would have to look at it as players. So it's like, but I'd rather have
Aaron Jones.
Yeah, so Aaron Jones and I get Trevor Lawrence, or Herbert and Deontay Johnson. I'll take Herbert and Deontay Johnson, I think. Still. But yeah, no, it is kind of eye-opening to see nothing happen in the 5 and the 6. Like just that whole run just completely ended. I definitely think that I got the last guy in the tier that I'm like comfortable with. Like I'm not even like I feel like Fields is the last guy like in that tier for me, but Herbert was the last one available. Or maybe even Burrow is the last guy and Fields is right above him. I don't know. But
yeah.
No, I was happy to get Herbert there. I still like the build of my team. Like I think it's kind of like coming together. I feel like I'm gonna just keep forgetting about tight end because I'm not like drafting one of these guys like in these last couple of rounds.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens to me. I either forget about quarterback or tight end in my draft because I'm like, oh, the value here for these guys, you know.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a late quarterback guy. If you believe what happened last year with the quarterbacks, where if you don't have a top 4 guy, you were kind of screwed. If you believe that's going to happen again, then go ahead and take your quarterbacks in the first 5 rounds. But to me, there's just way too much value in like 8, 9, 10. Like still the guys there, like Deshaun Watson is amazing value here. Like Dak Prescott, Tua, these are just incredible value. Like,
yeah,
and even beyond them, like if your league start taking 2 quarterbacks, like all right, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Geno, Daniel, like there's just way too much value for me to like want to take a Herbert or a Fields in the 4th. Like maybe if they dropped a little bit to late 5th, okay, but that's just kind of how I feel this year again, and I'm gonna bank on it being more like it was the 7 years prior than it was last year in terms of the quarterback. But
yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think people are kind of overreacting a little bit to the quarterback situation from last year with multiple guys going in the early or like in the late 2nd round and stuff, early 3rd round. But I don't know, like you kind of said, like this is kind of how home leagues play out, and honestly I've waited for quarterback quite a bit, and like sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not though, like trying to like pick the streamer for that week and stuff, and feels good when you hit it, but at the same time it's kind of like I'd rather I don't mind the idea of like taking a guy who I'm totally 100% comfortable with. Like I don't need a backup with Herbert. He's my guy every week until he breaks, basically, you know. So there is some comfort in that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Go ahead. If you want to make your pick, go ahead and we'll kind of get through this 8th round. Maybe go to like 1 or 2 more rounds after this. I took Anthony Richardson at the 8-4 more to kind of say, like, I feel like if you're going to want him, this is where you kind of have to take him in this 8th round, maybe early 9th round, depending on the quarterback situation around you. But I just think people are going to be way too intrigued by him to not take him if he's sitting there in the 8th, 9th round, in my opinion. So, Dad, how you feeling with your running backs? You got Dobbins and Brian Robinson as your RB2. You only have to start 2.
Yeah, I feel like I just came back from Taco Bell, you know. So
surprised you didn't take Khalil Herbert. Like
I thought about it.
RB1.
You know, I got some guys lined up. You know, stacking the receivers up, and you know, I'm gonna take some running backs who are probably not RB1s on their team, but I think they're going to play. So
yeah, I think we're past the RB1 tier. I think that ended. I mean, Khalil Herbert's kind of the last guy. Looks like, I mean, maybe Penny.
That's kind of why I took Brian Robinson. That I think, he's going to get the majority of the running back carries. So
yeah,
I know Gibson, gets a lot of work in the backfield and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a roll of the dice, that's for sure. I'd rather have Brian Robinson as my RB3 instead of trying to, force him down the round peg in the square hole as an RB2.
Yeah. Well, he is your RB2.
I know he is, but I'm just saying, I'm not. That's why I feel like I just came back from Taco Bell.
Yeah. I got you.
Charbonnet wins. It's kind of crazy. Charbonnet going over Herbert. Go ahead, Brian.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say I took Herbert, but go ahead. You're recapping.
No, yeah, Charbonnet went Herbert, Sean Watson, which I think is again, like, give me Watson in the late 8th over Herbert, Fields, Burrow. That's just kind of how I feel. Like, I think Watson. Every year we've seen him play as a full season, he's been a top 5 guy. Like,
I don't know if that's gonna happen though. Like, do you think?
I think with Watson it will. I do. I don't think Lawrence is going to last to the end of the 7th. I think he's going to be more of like a 6th round at the latest. Early to mid 6th. I think Watson is going to fall though. I really do, because at that point you're looking at it like you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then so you have 8 of the 12 teams have quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
I think it will. I
really
do.
Just in my experience, and obviously everyone's league is different, but and I only know from the leagues I've played in, but I feel like the second quarterbacks always start going before like those first 12 guys, kind of a thing. Like someone always starts getting squirrely and starts taking 2. Like they'll have like Joe Burrow and they'll get Deshaun Watson, and it's kind of like, what are you doing?
But even if that happens, I'm fine with it. Like, I'd love Watson lately, but if someone does it, I'm like, okay, like I'll keep getting value, and Dak's sitting there, Tua's sitting there, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. Like, I don't think your league mates can make you pay for waiting on quarterback this year. I just think there's way too many good values to be had. So that's just kind of how I understand what you mean. Like, someone's going to take a second one, and someone's going to take 2 quarterbacks in the first 7 rounds, and but that's fine with me. That just pushes guys down the value, of other guys. So
yeah.
But
what do you guys think about the tight ends in that round?
Yeah, I'm fine. Like I've been seeing them going like. I don't know. I guess how I feel about that, like, just reach for Waller maybe, or even Goddard if you want a tight end in the first 8 rounds. Like Ingram and Freiermuth aren't enough difference makers for me.
Yeah.
At the position, like if I can get them in the 9th, 10th, okay.
Well, I think it's appropriate where they're going there. There's kind of a, we all know about the tight end pecking order, so. They're in the, out of the top 10, they're in the bottom half of that now. So Ingram's kind of a middle of the road guy, maybe 6th or 7th or something like that. Freiermuth ain't far behind him.
So here's how I approach it though. Like, you need to start a tight end. Okay, but these guys in half PPR are going to give you 8.5 points. Khalil Herbert can kind of win you leagues in the 8th round. Zach Charbonnet, if Kenneth Walker gets hurt, can win you leagues. Even like a Quentin Johnston could be if Keenan Allen or Mike Williams get hurt. Zay Flowers could be the wide receiver. There's just guys that can like win you leagues. Evan Ingram and Pat Freiermuth are not going to do that. And like, I'll sacrifice the point difference I'm going to lose out on starting Gerald Everett than pass up on a Khalil Herbert Gabe Davis or Quentin Johnson. That's just kind of how I approach it. I understand people want to fill out their rosters and stuff, but I don't know. That's just how I feel with that.
Yeah. So before I took Khalil Herbert in the 8th, I was kind of like, he'll probably come back to me, just given like the makeups of the teams. Like one is super running back heavy with no quarterback. And then the other guy was he only had one running back. So I was kind of like, oh, maybe he won't come back. So that's kind of why I chose Herbert, even though it was between him and Gabe Davis, to go back to what we were talking about earlier. Late round Christian Watson or mid round Christian Watson.
Yeah. Yeah, so the 9th round, we'll probably just do 10 here, but the 9th round, Rashad Penny, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, Dak and Tua go again. I really like those values of Dak and Tua in the 9th round. Daddy took Cortland Sutton. First off, Brian, Zay Flowers. I think it's a really good pick. What do you what's your reasoning for Zay Flowers there over like a Brandon Cooks, let's say, or someone maybe a little more safe, maybe? I don't know.
Honestly, it was kind of him between between Flowers and Sutton is kind of the guys I was looking at. I didn't like the running backs there, and just because it's like, well, I mean, like these guys could be like the number one target getters on their team, you know. So it was just kind of like, yeah, like why not take a shot? I don't have any like super young guys, I don't think. Oh, that's not true. My receivers are actually decently young, but I guess I didn't have any rookies. So it just felt nice, like in the 9th round, like take a shot on him. Like I don't have to start him, you know. He can sit on the bench and I can see what I can get from him. I can be patient with him. Just kind of see what happens.
Yeah. No, I like that pick for sure. Dad Cortland Sutton, is that a Judy getting hurt pick or over, him over Brandon Cooks? Or...
Yeah, I heard a thing on XM radio. They were talking about I guess Cortland Sutton plays the X position and the offensive coordinator is Joe Lombardi, and they listed some examples of players who have played the X position under his tutelage, and they've done pretty well. So, and that was kind of an interesting fact. And then Jerry Jeudy, he hurt his hamstring, so he said he might not be playing for a couple of weeks. So who in the hell's left? You know, they gotta. I know they got some guys, and but so if Cortland Sutton is worth his salt, it'll be his time to shine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good information there for sure. Njoku, kind of know how I feel about tight ends in this range. If you guys want to say something, like jump in. Brandon Cooks, as that team's wide receiver 3, is a little scary, I would say.
Yeah,
I know you only have to start 2, but
it's very scary.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, you only have to start 2 in this format, but yeah, it's that's terrifying. Michael Thomas, I'm it's like the bad relationship, man. Like I'm kind of back in on him. He's not killing you anymore where he's going. If he doesn't pan out, like, all right, it's not going to kill your team in the 9th round. And
yeah,
if he's good,
I don't know. He'll find a way to do it. Trust me.
Yeah.
I think I took him in the 8th round last year.
Yeah. I think he was going higher. Maybe you did take him, but I think he was going like 6th round for most people.
Yeah.
And then Jamal Williams, Samaje Perine, just a couple good running backs, I think, that can give you some points. Like at this point, you're at like, all right, can you give me 3 weeks in the year when I need you? Like I think that's kind of what you're drafting here. I mean, that is how that Team 10's format. They're starting Gibson and Jamal Williams as their RBs, but again, these are auto pick teams. Yeah, I mean, anything we want to touch on in the 10th round that you guys really jumps out, or you want to just recap the teams?
Yeah, well, mine doesn't jump out, but I drafted Jalen Warren, and I think he's going to get a bigger slice of the pie. And Najee's had 2 years of big slices of the pie, and now they have somebody truly else who can be a change of pace back. So I know he's a running back too and stuff like that. He'd be lucky to get 6-8 touches a game. That would probably be on the high side. So we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, I like it. Brian, you want to? How did your team turn out? Do you feel okay with it? Do you really like it? Would you be happy if you walked away with this at the 3 spot?
Yeah, I actually really do like it. I think I had PPR a little bit more in my head because that's my next draft coming up. I wasn't making my choices according to that, but it was just kind of like, I don't know. That's kind of what's fresh. So I went receiver heavy for sure. But I don't mind Ramondre Stevenson, Alvin Kamara, and Khalil Herbert as my 3 running backs through the first 10 rounds, given the receivers that I have. But yeah, like running back is definitely very thin now, like as you look at like who's on there, and I still don't have a tight end, but that's okay, because who cares about tight end, like you said. So I still like Gerald Everett and Higbee, even taking a shot on like Laporta or something like that, because you can always drop them and just get someone else. So
yeah,
I kind of like that. But yeah, in the next few rounds, I don't think we're gonna play this out anymore, right? Because we're already
we'll probably end up there.
Yeah, so in the next few rounds, I think I would target a few of like the handcuff guys, especially like a little bit later. Even like Kenneth Gainwell is getting all like this attention right now. Like it's like, oh, is he actually the starter? So
Really?
because of like, he sat with the starters for the first 2 games, and it's the preseason narrative kind of thing. It's like, but I mean, if you're taking him in like the 15th round as like a shot in the dark, Zamir White's right there too.
I think it's a little more than a narrative of like, I think there's maybe some legs to it. Just like,
right, yeah,
we could be sitting in week 3 of like, damn, because I'm drawing a blank on the head coach's name, but he was wearing a Kenneth Gainwell shirt too. Like, there's a lot of like, and he's been kind of saying like, he's kind of our starting running back, and no one's really paying attention or believing
no one's
it.
listening.
So it's just like 3 weeks in, we can be like, yeah, he kind of told us he was the running back. So
yeah, we didn't listen, and I didn't actually look at this. I don't have like the game logs, but I think they were kind of saying, I'm kind of pulling it up, is that like he was kind of splitting closer to 50-50 with Miles Sanders towards the end of the season when he came back. Is that actually true? No, that can't be true. I'm looking at these
snapped him in. Yeah, he wasn't 50-50. He was his highest was 40% the last 4 weeks. But he outsnapped him in the couple playoff games.
Maybe that's what it was, and that's why I'm not seeing it. But yeah, there's kind of some fire to the smoke possibly, and it's like no one's drafting him. Like
yeah.
It's like, I like Clyde, honestly, like super late too, as like a running back target. Jeff Wilson too, he's still on there. I know we kind of talked about him a few times.
There's a lot of guys like that's why I'm kind of like in the boat of take your running back, go heavy on receivers, take your running back high, like a Devin Singletary, Tajay Spears. These guys, Tank Bigsby, like Mostert or Wilson could be the starter. Like all these guys, Tyler Algier, they're going to start. There's going to start a few games, and you're going to get some value out of them. So that's kind of all you need. But how'd your team turn out with your? You took a high tight end and a high quarterback in the first 5 rounds, which it's going to make you thin at other places. So do you like that build, or do you think you'd prefer to maybe just take one of those positions?
Yeah, I'm pretty thin, and I think in the running back room, I was gonna, if the draft continued, I was gonna, stock up on RB2s and stuff like that, and so, hopefully, my wide receiver production and the tight end production will, kind of cancel some of that other stuff out. So I kind of wish I would have had the one that really screwed me was Montgomery. I was going to reach. You got him. You got him like 20 picks early, and that's what I was going to do. And
yeah, that's where I think he should be going.
Well, of course, yeah.
Who are you guys talking about?
Just Montgomery. Dad was saying he kind of wanted him in the 6th. He thought he was kind of guaranteed to get him in the 6th, and he would have been if it was all robots, drafting because of the ADP. I just think that's kind of where Montgomery should be going, in my opinion. So I took him there. Yeah, I mean, you're thin at the running backs. Again, that's going to happen when you take a quarterback and a tight end so high. But you always have to remember, I have Travis Kelce. Like, I have 5 more points a game probably than everyone else, at least in that I'm playing against at the tight end position. It's like 5-point, maybe even a 7-point head start. So.
Dad, I would like your team way more if you took Kamara instead of Mike Williams. I think in the 6th.
Not really, because Kamara. 4 weeks, he's out.
Yeah, 3, but it's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not into Kamara. If he was playing all year, that would be a true fact. But I'm not giving away, 20% of the season or something like that. So, just waiting for him to show up, and then he shows up, and it's the same way I feel about Jonathan Taylor. He's going to get on a team, and he hasn't really. Well, Kamara at least has done a preseason. He's played in the preseason, and then he's going to sit for a month and stuff like that. So Jonathan Taylor has done nothing. So I have a problem with that. So I'm not the guy who's going to be in on Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely take 1,200 total yards and a bunch of catches and everything like that.
Who's that?
Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean he's
not this year.
Yes, this year he's going to do that.
Okay.
1,200 total.
1,200 total yards.
Yeah, 1,200 total yards.
I mean, look at it.
That sounds like a wager.
Yeah, I think you guys do. Last year he had almost 1,400. Missed 2 games, it looks like.
Okay, but he's not sitting out 3 or 4 weeks or something.
Well, it's 3 weeks.
2 games last year.
Missed 2 games.
Okay, so we all have our ways of
I'm just saying, it sounds like you guys need to make a bet. No, I agree. I mean, you just look at who. Let's just say Rachaad White's gone. Look at everyone after Kamara. There's no running back ones there. Maybe Khalil Herbert.
We don't even know if he is.
Yeah, exactly. So my point is like Kamara. You're getting him and Rachaad White late 6th round. You're getting RB1s late in the 6th round. Starting running backs for teams. And you just don't really find that in the late 6th round, really, by that time. So, like, true RB1. So, but yeah, my team, I like it. Weak at running back like you guys, but I'll be snatching up a couple of these backups as well. Bijan, David Montgomery, Roschon as my 3rd. And I'll be starting Garrett Wilson, Deebo Samuel, Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy, and Dotson or Thomas. I will say with taking Anthony Richardson, I am going to be keeping an eye on quarterback runs and stuff like that. And I'm going to really want, I mean, there's a good chance I would take either a Daniel Jones or Jared Goff in this round, in the 10th round, just to kind of lock that up with. That's kind of one of the downsides with Anthony Richardson is you do kind of have to take another guy probably 2-3 rounds later, unless you're okay with like Russell Wilson or Jordan Love or Bryce Young, which I'm not really. So
in a perfect world where no one rosters 2 quarterbacks, like you could stream, but I just feel like half our league or half all the leagues I've played in general, which are mostly been the ones that you guys are involved in, half the league fucking holds 2 quarterbacks. So it's like, well, there's 18 guys right there. So gets in.
We'll finish up there. I think this was fun. Maybe we'll do another one before next weekend because that's when a lot of the drafts happen. I'm looking forward to taking you guys' money, as Brian said. I'm the one taking money every year, it seems like, at least since 2020 when I started cheating. And you guys need to make a Kamara bet. So, any last words?
Yeah,
Brian.
How many yards do you think he's going to get, Dad?
I don't know. I'll let you know, but go ahead and learn how to draft. So,
give me a realistic. You haven't won the league yet. I've won it twice, so I think you need to learn to draft.
He's won once.
Nah.
He did win once. But you guys are talking like Raiders 80s.
I was hoping you wouldn't remember, Mike. That was more than yesterday ago. So
I'm not going to give you a number on Kamara. So
yeah, don't be a wimp.
It's like bragging like the Lions were like the best team in the 1950s or something. Like you guys are talking pre-COVID stuff. This is an epic of history books, stuff that you guys are talking about. So just for the record, I've won back-to-back and I came in second last year. So, but yeah, we'll finish up there. I know it was a little long, but you can. Nice thing with mock drafts as you're watching, you can kind of skip through and just kind of see where things are going if you really want to. But we'll be back. We got 2 more team reviews to go over, and we'll be here all fantasy season here for you guys. So with that, we'll catch you guys all